A minor. One, two, three, four, and F. One, two, three, four, and G. One, two, three, four, end on the A minor. Okay, so A minor has got the three essential notes of what? A, C, and E. Think of it as ACE, okay? Three essential notes. But the ukulele, we have 4 strings, which means one of those 3 notes will be repeated, doubled. In this case, it would be the what? The A. And the F chord has got what? F, A, C. And one of those notes is going to be repeated. So we got the F, the A, and the C. You're right, it's the A that's repeated. So the G chord has G, B, and D. So one of those notes is repeated. Which one is that? We got G, D, G. So G is repeated. Okay, so how do we make it interesting? Let's break up the block chords. So this is what I'm going to do. Go ahead and keep playing it. I'm going to play this on the piano now. Let's do an A minor. Ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3, change to F. 1, 2, 3, 4 to G. 1, 2, 3, change to A minor. Let's see what else we can do. Take a look at that. Here's what we could do. On the piano, we're going to invert the chords so it looks slightly different. Yeah. It's going to be like this. I'm going to count to 4, and on the ukulele, you could just strum or play along. We're all going to be together on this, okay? So the piano, I'm just going to use my pinky, all right, and then my middle or index finger and my thumb. Ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, change to F. 1, 2, 3, change to G. 1, 2, 3, change to A minor. Okay, so actually that is, there's 2 different ways you could do on the piano and a whole lot of other ways as well. So I just mentioned briefly the left hand, pinky, index, and thumb. And then you choose a different register, different parts of the piano to do this, change, invert it, and then there's different chord shapes, and I'll show that on the ukulele. Now, if you see here, it's the same 4 strings, but for the ukulele, depends on if you have high G or low G. So if you have low G ukulele, you could take it out now and compare. If you've not plucked before, I would recommend that you just take out your thumb, straighten your right thumb, make sure it's straight. I call it a hitchhiker's thumb. And you just, for the A minor chord, just come down. Just like that. Make sure every time it's straight so that when you pluck it, it lands on the next string and just stops. Okay. If you're on the piano, you could join us playing those chords that I just showed you, especially if you have the handout, or you could just do a low A, a low F, and a low G. All right. So let's do that. What I'm suggesting is because one of the notes is doubled, okay, because we have 4 strings and you only need 3 notes, I'm going to show you to alternate between A minor and the other A minor. You could use, I like to use my middle finger for the A minor and then my pinky on the 3rd fret. That way I could easily move to the F and then put my pinky down, and then I will switch to the G. And for the last G, what I need to do is stretch and put my pinky on the 5th fret. So let's hear how it sounds for the high G ukulele, okay? Count to 4, and we just keep playing the chord over and over again until I count to 4, and then we go to the next chord, okay? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. One, two, three, 4 and F. And G. 1, 2, 3, 4 and A minor. If you have a low G, it sounds different. Here's what it sounds like. So go ahead and we'll play together again. And this, the low G, you'll see it's these notes indicated below here, below the tab. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 and F. 1, 2, 3, 4 and G. 1, 2, 3, 4 and A. Okay, all right, so I'm giving you all the tools before we jam. Now, the last thing to do is there's so many different pluck patterns, and this is what I teach in my pluck classes, all my fingerstyle classes, trying to give you all these tools so that your plucking hand, most of the time it's your right hand, your right fingers, will have a mind of their own. For example, let's try the first one. The first one will sound like this. Of course, this is on a low G, so if you have a high G, it sounds a little bit different. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So you could do this with just your thumb, make sure it's straight, or you could use your 4 fingers, thumb, index, middle, ring finger. And then the second one, let's look at the second one. Second one is like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so if you're on the piano, you could follow this on the piano. Or any other instrument. And let's go to the third one. Third one gets a bit complicated because we're changing the chord shape in the middle of a pluck pattern. That always makes it more complicated. So let me slow down for this one. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So that was the third one. And let's go to the last one. The last one, again, we change chord shape in the middle. They're both A minor. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So these are just 4 that you could choose from, but there's a lot more. Okay, so let's go to the next one. So the song I like us to do is Ride On. It was released in 1984, And the song structure is very simple. It's verse 1 followed by a very short chorus, verse 2 followed by a short chorus. And to hear what it sounds like, those of you that could read the tab or the notes, you could play it on your instrument. Otherwise, you could try any of those pluck patterns or strum the A minor chord, okay? I'm gonna count. And I'm gonna do a combination of plucking the melody as well as trying to accompany at the same time. So slowly, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2. Sorry, start from G again. Ready, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so one more time. 1, 2, ready, go. True, you ride the finest horse I ever seen, standing 16, 1 or 2, with eyes wild and green. Notice there's quite a bit of syncopation and tied notes into the next measure, which makes it a little bit tricky. The introduction, some of you would love to play the introduction that Christy Moore does. It's really beautiful. So I'm going to play it here, and you could either play the chords or follow and pick out the bits, okay? So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. 2, 3, 4, 1. G. One more time. 2, ready, and. So I think we're ready to jam. Okay, all right, so this is a song sheet. You could jam along with this. And notice we have this bit, okay? So let's do this. Ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. She's not exactly correct, but I mean, right chord placement, but it's good enough. 1, ready. True, you ride the finest horse I've ever seen, standing 16, 1 or 2, with eyes wild and green. I could never go with you, no matter how I wanted to. So now you could strum in the chorus if you want. Right on. See you. I could never go with you, no matter how I wanted to. So let's employ some of that altered chords. You know, the 2 0 0 0 and then 2 0 0 3 that we did on the A minor. 1, 2, ready, go. When you ride into with a smile to light the night through the teardrop in my eye. Ride on, see you. I could never go with you, no matter how I wanted to. Last time. Ride on, see you. I could never go with you, no matter how I wanted to. Okay, so that was Christy Moore, and what we could do is we're gonna now experience playing along with this and not seeing the words, and see if you could know when to switch the chords and do whatever you want. I'll just do a little bit of this. This is my group, the Chocolate Factory and Historic Lower Mills, and way before the pandemic. Key of A minor, but the news is that actually Christy Moore did not sing it in this key. So if you want to hear the original, let me ask you to guess what key it is. I might tell you what the key is, but you have to figure out what are the two other chords, okay? So if we know this is A minor, F, and G, how are you going to guess what are the other chords? If I tell you, I'll play a little bit and you're gonna guess what key it's in using your ears.
Ride On is one of those songs that...
Let me have you guess another one, okay? All right.
Through you ride the finest horse I've ever seen.
I'm gonna give one last one for you to check. And I'm gonna play a little bit somewhere else on the clip, okay?
Ride on, see you.
Requires a skill in listening, so that's part of music, isn't it? And we're gonna go to the next part, which is to look at how you figure out what the other chords were. Figuring out the key is one thing, but figuring out the chords. So this is where I'm gonna take us to the circle of fifths. So let's take a look at A minor, F, and G. Can you all find it? The minors are in the inner circle. Can you see my cursor going around like this? Okay, so you see the C. Usually I like to turn it the other way, so the C is like 12 o'clock, you know, but here it's a little bit tilted. You get A minor here. So the original song, we went A minor, F, and G. Now look at that. Some of you are visual learners. And remember this shape. A minor, go left up, turn around to the right, and come back left down. You see that? A minor, turn left up to the F, skip the C and go to the G and come back down. Now let's look at B minor. That was the first one we listened to. If we go to B minor, it's about 3 o'clock on the clock. We go B minor, turn left up, so go to the G, and come back, jump over the D and come back to the A, and turn to the B minor. You have to turn your head a bit to see B minor, G, and A. Now, I think somebody got that, and now let's go to the C minor. Can you find the C minor? C minor is kind of like 9 o'clock. We do the same thing. Go C minor, go to the left up to the A flat, jump over the outer circle to the B flat, come back to the C minor. So the song will always be in that order, okay? That order, the chord order. Now let's look for E minor. Where's E minor? It looks like E minor is about 2 o'clock, okay? So we're gonna do the same thing. So it's gonna be E minor, go left up to the C, jump over to the D, and come back down to the E minor, all right? So this is one way to use the circle of fifths. You could quickly transpose by looking at it, look at the shape, and do it. So you don't have to perform mental gymnastics in your head, all right? Let's move on. So just want to give a plug about Chord Thursday. Nancy does all the wonderful creative chords, and we had Irish songs last week. This Thursday, we're going to be doing chord melody arrangements. So if you're into plucking and instrumental ukulele, this is the time to join us and see the performances. It's every week, and we got together brand new during the pandemic. We didn't exist before that. So one of my students in music theory basically posed the question, I could read, I could write, I've learned different languages, I can count, I know numbers, but why don't I know how to read music? You know, do I have to be able to sing? Do I have to be able to play an instrument in order to be able to be musically literate? So here are some definitions. I think it's really great. What we experienced today was we saw what's up in front of us, so we played those chords, and then we listened, okay? And then we were able to play what we heard. So for me, that's good enough, music literacy. And a lot of my piano students, they would only play what they've heard on YouTube. Otherwise, they refuse to play it. Whereas when I learned how to play music, I had to read the notes. Otherwise, I wouldn't know what it sounded like, you know, because we had only one English radio station and television station. So it's an oral art. So I just want to say, if you could read notes, if you could read tabs, it's just going to be a little bit faster for you than trying to figure it out just by listening. I figured out everything we did today by listening, you know, like, because I don't have the sheet music. And it took me a while to figure it out because it was in another key and I had to change it to A minor so that we could play it. So what is music theory then? Music theory will answer your questions, will put them into a structure so it makes sense, you know? And for this next course, this 8-week course, I'm going to be talking about the beauty of the circle of fifths, how you could use it to help you with harmony. And then here are some of the courses I'm giving. So the right-hand side are all the courses that I'm giving. You basically deal directly with me. So there's some flexibility in that, you know, I let you attend other classes if they're offered several times a week. And if it really, you know, doesn't fit, I could give you a credit. Whereas all the ones on the left, there's no refund. You know, you pay it, use it, or lose it. And I'm teaching those too. So at Arlington Community Education, I'm teaching 8 weeks of beginning music theory. That's the first course, which is how to read music, all the way to melody in intervals, ukulele for beginners. So that's both. I'm going to combine both plucking, tab reading, and strumming. And the youth ukulele, that's for 5th to 9th graders. Yeah. And then Cambridge Center for Adult Education, it's for non-beginners. So it's thematic. So it's been 5 weeks. All of them are 1 hour in Zoom. This is going to be in April and May. Billboard Countdown, Beatles songs, female artists, and British Invasion songs. So how to really go in and, you know, the proper strums and riffs and whatever. Letting you know now because Thursday, it's the cutoff day for the early bird rate. After that, it's the normal rate, and all you have to do is to register on this form. And for my classes, you get the recordings, you get PDF handouts like this one, and so you could practice during the week, and you could team up with other people to practice together. And on Thursdays, you could join us, and you get to perform because I've blocked off half of the spaces for my students to use to perform. Because otherwise, it's like a month or 2 months in advance sign up, because I only do 10 songs every Thursday. And that gets recorded too, so I've seen people improve greatly. Okay, so this is some of the student feedback. It's really great. And you could take a look at that later in the handout. And I think that's it. Okay, all right. Any questions? I think we have 5 minutes for questions.
And what do you mean by classical ukulele?
Okay, classical ukulele, I just mean we're going to do classical music. Like, for example, Ode to Joy is a very prime example, not pop music.
Is there a difference between plucking and finger picking?
Yeah, you know, I use plucking to mean finger picking and finger style, mainly using your fingers individually rather than strumming. Yeah, that's classical ukulele. That's on Mondays at 1:30. There's a prerequisite that you already know how to read tabs and also know what PIMA means, how to pluck with your. I'm tempted to give a class called Tab and Pluck for people who might know already how to strum but don't know how to read tab or use the correct finger technique. So if there's enough interest, I would do that. Yeah. Tuesday courses starting next Tuesday is music theory, and we're going to be talking about harmony. Yes. Starting with, so basically we're going to review music intervals, and music intervals are the basis for chords because you put two intervals together and you get a triad, you get a chord, because chord you really need 3 notes. So I just finished teaching a 6-week music theory course, and some of them are here. Patricia, you're here, and I don't know who else is here. Carla, you're here. So I started from scratch, and I took them through, notation and intervals. So we're ready to tackle diatonic chords, the chord family, yeah, all the Roman numeral numbers, yeah, and say what is the difference between a major seventh and a minor seventh, and the role of dominance. And I don't know if you'll get to secondary dominance, but knowing chords and the functions, we'll be able to analyze music. And it's very powerful because I just showed you a very quick example of how there's a song you really want to know how to play. You don't know what key it's in, but the sheet music is in another key and you don't have a capo, right? And then so you could figure out, and then the next step would be, well, I want to embellish it. I want to add another chord to make it mine. What extra chord can I add? Or it could be the opposite. This song has 10 chords. It's just too much. How can I reduce it to the bare essential chords? Which chords are necessary that you could reduce it? So those people that play the piano, they could figure out how to do it on the piano and hear it. And if you play the ukulele or guitar, or that you will try it out, because you have to be able to hear it, right? And if you don't have any instrument, the good news is we've got the virtual piano keyboard. There's like at least 5 websites and mobile apps you could download, so you could kind of plunk it out and hear what it sounds like. All right, great question, Molly. Any other questions? Yes, Karen, that's on Tuesday mornings. And Bruce does the voice coaching, individual voice coaching. And the way we're going to do next time, if we get enough people, and that doesn't start for another 2 weeks, is we'll have like a 50-minute class session all together. And then either before or after the class, you have your time spot, and then you go in for your individual private lesson with Bruce, unless you want to team up with another person and get double the time, Trisha, did you have a question?
No, I just wanted to say I recommend the hum and strum.
Yeah, today we had our last class, and there was so much progress. It's wonderful. I love it when you own your song. You just adapt it to your voice because which range. You know that you've got to do that so that you could sing it powerfully. And then is Beth here? You decide. I'm gonna I'm gonna finger pick the verse, and I'm going to strum the chorus part so it sounds different. Or Catherine, you decide to, put some melodrama in your singing, right? To make Bad Moon Rising really bad. This is great. And just be critical rather than, this is the holy song sheet. I can't do anything with that. I'm just going to have to do it, bite it, right?
Thanks, Anne. Could you repeat the early bird deadline?
The early bird deadline is Thursday. Yes, Thursday. It's $149 for 8 weeks of classes. And if you know any teenagers or preteens, they're doing a 7-week class. And then after that, it's going to be $179, the regular rate. Okay.
Happy St. Patrick's Day tomorrow.
That's right, Sherry. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I'm wearing my green.
Green for luck.
Yeah, green for luck.
Dig out the cabbage and the potatoes.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you for the tip about Venmo, Ann. It saved me half on the service charges.
Yes, absolutely. If you pay by credit card, it's another $10 fee. If you decide to do check, another $10 fee. But if it's Zelle or Venmo, you don't pay for
$4.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice.
All right. Well, thank you for
you.
showing up and coming to this workshop. I appreciate it. Maybe
Thank
one
you.
day I'll do the Filipino song mashup with this song in the future. But all right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Anne.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Anne.
I see everybody. So I think a lot of the time my fingers were doing stuff on their own. I wasn't really controlling them. And this is what I want to achieve on the ukulele.